Thank you, Mr. Cameron. I appreciate you. All right. Today's press briefing will be addressed by Honorable Nathaniel T. Glama, Senior, Executive Director, the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA for short. And Honorable Glama will speak on the issue of environmental mapping, unlawful construction on swampland, sand mining, and other environmental related issues. And also in attendance is Dr. John S. Flomo, Director General, Liberia Agriculture Commodity Authority, LACRA for short. And Dr. Flomo address will be focused on the new policy that is being worked on to improve the cocoa, some people say for short sector, and provide clarity in the recent statement from the cocoa sector producers associations that the entity wants to monopolize the sector. Again, quite recently, last Thursday, you may recall, we brought in here for you the Technical Economic Management team. And many of you may be aware by now that we are, as a nation, contemplating on moving away from the extractive industry that have lent support to our economy. And you and I know that this industry is dwindling and that we as a country have got an economy that is import-based, which means that almost everything we get around here, we import into the country, which actually takes away our foreign exchange and create a demand for the FX. So if we want dollars and we're spending dollars out there, what do we use to bring back the dollars? If everything we do is to import stuff, it means we send the dollars out. So what do we do to bring in the dollar? It means that we must now graduate from an export-based economy, from an import-based economy, where we bring everything in and put our dollars out, to where we send a lot of things out and bring in some dollars to complement the efforts of the business climate, especially in the private public sector as well. So for that reason, we have our two distinguished guests here today. One of them will be addressing such issue relative to the agro-based economy that we're trying to create shortly. And that falls under the leadership that the President is trying to provide in terms of the diversification of our economy in all of its ways. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, today again I want to encourage you to please look up Executive Order number 96. I have a copy in my hand right here. The reason why I'm stressing it will be well known simply because if you look here, it's numerical in a sense. Number one there, you see the issue of work permits. Number two, residence permit. Number three, collection of work and resident permits fees. Okay. Number four, surface rental fees. Number five, waiver of real estate taxes, custom duties, and related levies. Number six, import permit declaration, which is the IPD. Number seven, the protection of domestic manufacturers and producers. Number eight, taxable goods for sale of air tickets by international transport services. I'm bringing this to your attention because these are all measures under the executive order that was somewhat put in place to bring added relief to our people and also address the economic problems we're faced with as a nation. So we're encouraging you to go there and see some of the things that this President, His Excellency, has done for his people. That's in addition to the cancellation of demurrage. That's in addition to what the port manager told you, that a couple of teams are being sent to Ghana, Sierra Leone, Guinea, and other countries to do a comparative analysis of why is it that everyone would rather choose to send their goods to Guinea and probably smuggle it into the country as opposed to the free port of Monrovia. What's the difference here? So we need to know. We need to know, and those things are on their way out to those countries. Demurrage, for example, if your container stays in the port, maybe after 5 days, you're charged $40 per day. And imagine, if you cannot pay $40 a day for 10 days, which is $400, it increases after a couple of days to $60 per day. So the cancellation of that brings complete relief to our people. I was a victim shortly when a custom broker working for me said he wanted $25 to log in the information into something they call Asapoda. And he made me understand that that fee was being paid to government. And I told him, no, it's not true. This is something you're doing on your own. He decided to argue, and I decided to call one of the commissioners at Custom in his presence, put the phone on speaker, and he was quickly told, don't do that. Government have got nothing to do with your $25 fee for Asapoda. So the moment we're working with our Custom people, they will soon be coming to educate our people. The majority of the fees you're being charged right now do not go to government coffers. I didn't say all of the fees. But when they're telling you, give me this, I need to go do RPD, tell them the executive order takes immediate effect and is in full swing. When they tell you that, hey, you have to pay for me to log this thing into Asapoda, tell them that is your fee, not the government fee. This government has done extremely well to bring relief to its people and has opened the door for business. Just a couple of issues before I bring my esteemed guests. His Excellency Dr. George Manneh on Wednesday, May 1st, 2019, met, shook hands with former Vice President Ambassador Joseph Newman Boakai, and they discussed a wide range of national issues, including maintaining the peace and stability, along with other prevailing economic situation in the country. During the meeting, President Weah said that he will continue to have regular dialogues and consultations with every Liberian, regardless of their political, ethnic, and other affiliations, with regards to this country. Too often a time, people will say, why did he meet with Mr. Henry Costa? Is Mr. Costa not a Liberian? Why is he opting to meet with Honorable Yaka Kolba, my friend? Is Honorable Yaka Kolba not a lawmaker and a Liberian citizen? This president is very keen, he's very peaceful, and is a person who has always demonstrated that he will serve as president of the Republic of Liberia and not just a political party or a section of people. So he has demonstrated that, and he will continue to do that. The Liberian government, through the Liberia Electricity Corporation, the LEC, on Wednesday, May 1st also, broke grounds for the connection of 45,000 new households to the national grid within the RRA Maigidi corridor. The project is estimated to cost around $31.8 million and is funded by the African Development Bank and the European Union in a bid to increase reliable access to affordable electricity across this great country. The Liberian government is commending the Press Union of Liberia, and that accounts for why many of you are here today. I'm sure you on your way to rural cells to enjoy, or you're already there. But the Liberian government is commending the Press Union of Liberia as the union prepares for the official celebration of the year's World Press Freedom Day in Riverside County. The government wishes to reaffirm its commitment to working with the Liberian media, and that happens to be you, our esteemed partners, in creating a conducive environment for free press and freedom of expression, as was demonstrated by President Dr. George Manneh through the submission the subsequent passage, into law of the Abdullah Kamara Act of Press Freedom by the Liberia National Legislature. It's important to note that this year's occasion will be addressed. The keynote speaker will be the National Port Authority boss, my good friend and partner, Honorable Bill Tweley. Also, representing the government, the Minister of Information is expected to be in attendance. Of course, I will sneak my way there because we're friends like that every Thursday. I need to hang out with you people too. President George Manneh Weah on Tuesday, April 30th, 2019, submitted for enactment into law a bill to amend the Penal Law Chapter 15 by adding thereto a new section 15.88 to provide for power theft to be considered a crime that sabotages the country's development. The President reminded lawmakers in his communication to that body that power theft damages the country's economic development and, quote, and it's a crime akin to sabotage the economy. It destroys life and property when dangerous, when illegal connections are made, sometimes causing fire outbreaks. That brings us to some of the issues. As you know, we've been hit with a lot of fire outbreaks in communities, lives and property damaged, and we want to make sure that it is criminal for anyone to illegally connect people, causing the destruction of lives and property. Today, last but not the least, I'm going to focus on something to declare for the Liberian people. And because the prints are big, I will show you the original copy of the letter written by a group referring to themselves as the Patriot, the Council of Patriots. This in my hand is the letter written in response to the Council of Patriots. So let's see if we can find their letter so we display it for the press. The reason why I'm displaying these two letters for the press is to be able to jingle with you so we provide facts as opposed to the fiction. What we heard on the radio this morning, in my own thought, that I believe was disgusting. If you take note of the letter you see in my hand, you see a letterhead with the logo. It's right in my hand. You have a letterhead of an organization, institution, or association, whatever you want to call it. In this case, I would like to reference it as an association. The Council of Patriots, you see the letterhead. You see their logo. It's the sunshine with the map of Liberia and the colors displayed therein. So we don't need to argue that fact. Clearly you can see that these people present themselves as an institution that is duly registered and can operate as one that is recognized by the government. Now, we must go directly to the letter before my esteemed people come out, and I will give credit to the hot paper newspaper for the big print. As you can see, I have the letter right here, but the same letter was displayed in big print. You see my little chicken scratching writing on the letter, meaning these are the issues I want to speak to on behalf of the government. One, we take note of the logo, meaning they have a logo. Two, we take note of the letterhead. The Council of Patriots, it has an address, which means these people are not citizens coming together or assembling at a point. They already established. Monrovia, Liberia, cell phone numbers, everything, including the email address. Now, this letter reads, reference, notice of plan to hold peaceful assembly beginning Friday, June 7, 2019 in Monrovia. Notice, meaning they're putting us on notice. It is not a request, they're just notifying us. And what are they notifying us of? A plan to hold a peaceful assembly. Now, if you assemble, it means you gather, you come together. That is quite different from marching. Because if you assemble in a locality, in a location. But if you march, then of course you're on the street, you're moving from one location to the other location. Another thing here, you see the beginning. They're very clear by saying beginning Friday, but they do not tell us when they will end. So yes, your protest will begin on Friday, June 7th. So we know we're supposed to use our security officers in hotspots, in crime-infested areas, to protect everybody. We cannot protect you perpetually. I'm sure you in the media will agree with me. Therefore, we need a start date and we need an end date because we need to budget for it and ensure that the manpower for your security is provided. So, that is an error right there when you say beginning, but no end. The letter reads, we present our confidence and trust that this letter meets you well. Of course, the letter met the Justice Minister well because he responded. We write to inform you of our intention. You are not decided. You have not decided. You have an intent to do something. It's not the same as we have decided. So you have an intent. Clearly you can see. To hold a peaceful assembly, meaning again I stress that you will gather somewhere. You're not telling us to march through the principal streets. It requires clarity, and I'm sure people like you in the media will ask them that you have decided to gather. We saw the letter. Are you going to march? We rely on you people to tell us that. Our intention to hold a peaceful assembly, scheduled to begin, of course we said that, and potentially last for several days. So clearly you see, potentially last, meaning not certain. But we as a government and the people, before you, the members of the media, if it's not certain, what do we do? We just go on and lock in our resources to protect protesters and allow our streets to be with our fellow citizens. So how do we guarantee the free movement of the other citizens who are not protesters? The students, the marketeers, the marketers. How do we do that? We rely on you people in the media to use your critical judgment to reach out to these people also. The intent, again, the intent is not we've decided. We intend to present our grievances to the President and heads of the legislative judiciary branches in the form of a written petition. My friends in the media, an intent is not a decision. So when we get to you, you say, we told you we intended, we didn't tell you we're getting petition. Well, we're out here now. That is an intent. We have to be precise because the protocol at the executive mansion, you and I know, will have to notify the President that on this day at 10 a.m. a petition will be presented to you. We don't want people to come up and say, the President was not there, he did not. No. Members of the media, we trust your judgment on this one. You will deal with it, I'm hopeful. At the end here, it is clear. We look forward to you cooperating with us in order to provide security for this peaceful assembly. I tell you, just listen to the language. The government is supposed to cooperate with them instead of them who's exercising this, cooperating with the government to provide the appropriate framework for them. Who is supposed to cooperate with who? As a government, we're sitting. We're doing our job. And you say you want to do something, you are supposed to be the one supposed to cooperate with us. We are not supposed to cooperate with you. And I think that's wrong language. And I believe they understand by now that they will cooperate with us as a government. Now, they've gone around, our friends, our fellow compatriots, our good citizens, we hope, for now. And the Justice Minister responded. Let me pick up his letter and display it like I did theirs. Just give me just a second. I'm trying to find my Justice Minister's letter that I displayed here the 4th minute ago. It's colored. It has a color. I have the one with the color. I displayed it. Okay, I got it. Thank you. Thank you. So clearly, the Justice Minister responded and acknowledged receipt of their letter dated April 24th, and he made reference to the fact in a court to hold a peaceful assembly, and he quoted everything they said. He said he considered the request, quote, the Ministry of Justice is guided by Article 17 of the 1966 and 86 Constitution, which states, of course you can go there, I don't want to bore you with the time, but clearly he quoted section 41.2 of the Association's law that further states that every unincorporated association after its organization, let us take note of the words, every unincorporated. Because I heard the Secretary General say this morning, we don't need an article of incorporation. We don't need a, okay, fine. There's a law that says every unincorporated association, and that law is section 41.2. After its organization shall execute a certificate signed and soon told by its president and treasurer, stating, 1, the name of such incorporated association, the date of its organization, the number of its members, the names and places of residence of its officers, a description of the purpose of its organization. So I just show you an institution with a letterhead, an address, a logo, and everything. But what is amazing, as you see what the law says, this paper is signed not by a president, a vice president, a treasurer, a secretary, a chaplain. Let's not kid with the Liberian people. Let's not make fun out of the Liberian people. You are going to organize a protest. And at the end of the day, let's look at the leaders of the planned protest relative to the Council of Patriots for Ghana's sake. Signed, Senator Arthur A. Cooper, Advisor, Member, Council of Patriots. It's an advisor. Signed, Representative Yeka Kolba, Advisor, Member, Council of Patriots. Signed, Senator Samuel D. Johnson, Advisor, Member, Council of Patriots. Signed, Sengi A. Stepto, Member. Signed, Ambassador Rufus D. Lugel, Member. You and I were here a fortnight ago when Honorable Nathaniel Bagio, Minister of State, Presidential Affairs, did not mince his words. He said, if anything goes wrong, violently, the leaders of the planned protest will be held accountable. We will respect their rights, he continued, to protest. But we hope the protest will be peaceful, because if it turns violent, we will go for the leaders and bring them to the law and allow the law to take its course. I'm quite certain, based on that, we're not seeing leaders, we're seeing advisors who will later turn out and say, I was only advising, and I advised them not to do this, and I advised them not to do that. And so if anyone thinks that the government is wrong for asking for the leadership of what is intended for now and has the propensity for violence at any level, which we hope will not happen, then of course, I don't see where we're headed as a country. You cannot be leaders of a planned protest and then sign as advisors. Okay, we've seen all the advisors to you, the members of the media. I pray you, as members of the Fourth Estate, as people who serve as watchdogs for the society, to go out there today and find the leaders. Because now you know who the advisors are. Where are the leaders? Who are we supposed to discuss with as a government? Who do we hold responsible if things get out of hand? So I say to you again, there were rumors that this government had planned to infuse troublemakers in the midst of these people. Let's apply common sense here for a minute. We are on record for having more protests in 1.5 years than the past administration had in 12 years, period. No questions asked, hands down. We have provided security, ambulances, guidance, routes, water, and in some cases, march along with the protesters. But what is cheaper? Why would we want to infuse troublemaker in your midst to create a violent situation when we can just tell you no? It does not make any sense. Because if we infuse protesters as a government to create some form of violence, we will have to arrest you, which is costly. We'll have to prosecute you over a long period of time, which is costly. And at the end of the day, we'll bring about political upheaval. And then we have to be talking about political prisoners. We're not in that business. Our friends need to think twice, and our friends need to start constructing the letters appropriately so that they can have the appropriate address. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I'll take a few questions and allow my colleagues to address you, the media, from the EPA and LACA, respectively.
Thank you, Minister Fakon. The government has spoken. Do you have questions for the government? Please come in the queue. Introduce yourself, please.
You need no introduction, that's my brother Kaswa.
My name is Emmanuel Chiaga Gaspa, and I report from Military Media. Quickly on the issue of power theft. My research has established that monthly government loss close to $490 in the power theft.
400, that's too little. I'm sure you have 4,400,000 or something.
400,000
yes.
monthly to power theft.
Good.
That's for my research. And it's a good thing that the president will try to amend and infuse into our panel law to criminalize power theft. But then there's the flip side. Electricity is essential. And if you look to where power theft is, widely, concentrated, it is in densely populated communities, small community. I don't want to name community. So now, my question is, what is this government doing? You got to drive those streets, but what will be eating a very darkest drive? People want electricity. At what pace is this government working to ensure that people have electricity? Because people got money, people want electricity, but it's not just forthcoming. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Minister.
Good afternoon, my friend.
I'm Nelson Colette, and I report from Harvard Radio. Recently, there was a statement made by Deputy Presidential Press Secretary concerning this entire protest. He talked about some organizers of the protest giving a little over 300 to some groupings, $5 each to some underprivileged youths to be able to carry on this protest. But I'd like to know, can you maybe provide some clarity as to who are those individuals, just for the clarity's sake?
Good afternoon, Honorable Minister. My name is James from our report first card. Honorable Minister, I want to know from your end, that is the government relating to the pending June 7 protest. Will the government stay allow the Council of Patriots to carry on the protest if they refuse to come out with their leaders or leader?
Thank you, Minister. You can respond.
Thank you very much. Let's start with the last one. The government will do everything within its power to allow the constitutional expression of its citizens relative to Article 17, make no mistake. However, the government has a social contract, a constitutional mandate, and amongst others to perform. Where your right begins is where someone's rights stop. The government will do everything within its power to ensure that every citizen's fundamental right is protected. So let's be clear. If they refuse to provide a leadership for this planned protest that is at this stage intended, the legal system or the legal arm of the government will make the determination as to the way forward. Because we will have to examine everything from security to peace and stability. But make no mistake, like I said, we're open to making sure that our citizens exercise their constitutional rights. But indeed, the law will have to be upheld, protected, and that the citizens of this nation will have also the right to be assured that they can move freely, that they can live in peace, and they can have harmony and stability. And that I can tell you for sure. On the issue of the reports of protesters being provided monies, especially with regards to our underprivileged brothers and sisters, we have video footages of protests in the past where people are dividing monies that they were paid. And we have confessions from other people. But there are lots of reports on this land protest. So I think the press secretary was highlighting one of those reports. So there are several reports. There are reports that some of them are even planning to just be rounded that day to see whether they will get arrested. But we're not going to dwell on the reports coming in. What we do know that anything that is illegal is illegal. And anything illegal will be dealt with according to law. When we look at the LEC, my friend Brother Gaswa asked a very good question. In densely populated areas, dry dog sweet, but where you be eating the dog get dry. I just had a friend a fortnight ago, one who is financially capable of paying for his meter. 5 nights ago, Dennis' meter had a problem. Dennis has called repeatedly to have this meter brought back, replaced, at whatever cost. Dennis is having a little problem. So Dennis said to me, knowing that I'm in government, that you know what, I am prepared to steal current now. Because I want electricity, so I will steal current, and nothing you can do. I have the money. When you come to carry me to the court, and the judge call me, I'll show the judge my money, and say I'm only stealing it because they cannot provide it. But this government is doing everything to address this issue. And I just told you, as a matter of fact, that a $31.8 million project is on the way, funded by the African Development Bank and the European Union, to bring electricity to 45,000 homes. But we will rely on our people in the community. You get to a brand current, look at it, whatever. I mean, I can be dark and sleeping in there, because pass me some. These are some of the problems. We hope that all of us can join the President, His Excellency President Dr. George Manneh Weah, in addressing the issue of power theft, especially when it comes to making sure that it is a criminal offense. I'll take the last question. And,
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. My name is Arthur P. and I report for OKFM. Honourable Minister, yesterday the Liberia Council of Churches held a dialogue meeting with political parties with an intent to harmonize on different strategies to see how they can mitigate the different insecurity issues and political tensions within the country. And your ruling party, CDC chairman and quarter officers attended that meeting and were advised to see how they can cool down the political tensions and different talks. A few hours later, after he attended that meeting, he launched a press conference attacking Mrs. former President Ali Johnson Sirleaf on the statement that she is not talking because she's following the protesters or organizers of this protest? And if that is true, don't you think his comment is counterproductive in bringing peace or making this country stable? And is there any information in the current of government that former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is sponsoring one way or the other these protesters?
Thank you very much. I am a student of political science. You have, from the Bible, you have community politics, sometimes referred to as local politics. You have national politics. And you have world politics. You have student politics. It would be unfair for me as an official of the government of the Republic of Liberia, under which all political parties subscribe, to delve into party politics. As you alluded to, the Council of Churches had a meeting with political parties. We look forward to the Council of Churches having a meeting with the government of the Republic of Liberia. Whatever transpired in that meeting, I don't know. And relative to Shememo's comment, I will refer you to Shememo's on the basis of politics. My response would be focused on the national politics, which is paramount to the Liberian people. But let us be clear. Our Honorable Minister of State was very accurate when he said that leaders who are behind the planned protests will be held accountable for any mishap and be dealt with in accordance with the law. And today, you can clearly see I use the word accurate for a reason, because it clearly shows from the letter that there are no leaders. All we have for now as a government, we have advisors and not leaders. So clearly, Honorable McGill was 100%. He's a very far-sighted man. We call him in the government the stabilizer. As you know, he's very quiet, very easygoing guy, but he's very sharp and very articulate. With respect to the issue that, well, whether in government we have any idea that the former president is behind the protest, for now, I'll tell you straight out, no. We don't have any information. We've not been briefed by anyone that she's behind it. We have no evidence for now that she's behind it. And we don't believe, as a government, one who has led this nation for 12 years, who made the remark that I hope we do not return to status quo, will be the person hoping to return us to status quo. So for now, we'll leave it at that and hope and pray that the rumors you're hearing is not true. But what we want you to take from this press conference is that anyone behind the protest, and if the protest goes peaceful, we will praise them and be happy. But if it goes violent, the leaders, just like Honorable McGill said, will be dealt with in accordance with the law. I respectfully submit. Thank you. We will now proceed to call on the Honorable Nathaniel T. Blama, Executive Director of the Environmental Protection Agency, who will now address the question.
Thank you. Thank you, Abba Falcon, and ladies and gentlemen of the press. I'd like to say thank you for the invitation to this recap press briefing. I would like to provide you some information as it relates to the environment and national issues. As you might be quite aware, we are approaching the rainy season. It's already started raining in your communities. 4 nights ago, including last night, we had rain. And we preempt that if nothing is done to address some of those issues, there could be flooding around the city and displacements of citizens. As you're quite aware, some of the challenges we've had in the country over the period has been poor planning, poor
urban planning. As a result of poor planning and massive encroachment of people in on slums and waterways, construction has been some of the reasons for flooding during the rainy season. So what we've done in recent time, we've sent our technicians out to map up hot zones, areas that we consider hot zones, communities that we consider hot zones, and we're working with the Ministry of Public Works to initiate a process of either claiming or advising people not to continue in the activities they carry out there. I know hot zones, it might interest you to know that communities that all of us, some of us live in, like for example, the Oro community, the Dole community, the Chocolate City community. People have gone into those communities and built in the waterways and in the wetlands. May I submit to you that the way God made the universe, there is a balance in the ecosystem where whenever it rains, the wetlands, the swamp, we call it swamp, but the wetlands or the floodplain are natural filtration ground for water. Now, if you go and build in those areas, obviously you are obstructing the movement of the water when it rains. And what do you expect to happen? We did a modeling through our GIS system, and we can show you from GIS footage 10 years back. We did 10 years modeling of some communities that 10 years ago it was completely, I would say, empty, and 10 years on, they are heavily inhabited by people. This is 10 years ago and 10 years on. And they are inhabited by people. We'll also show you here of people that have gone into these communities. We did a drone photo. We flew a drone over these areas. We flew a drone over these areas. You can see how people have filled in the wetlands and they are residing there. Now it's going to rain. Eventually, you know what is going to happen. There's going to be flooding. And so we are concerned, and we want to call on all well-meaning Liberians to cooperate with the EPA and the Ministry of Public Works. We're going to be coming in your communities. There are people building, there's this thing that I want to build my lay house, and so you're filling the swamp or the wetlands. It is not a safe thing to do. It's not safe for yourself. It's not safe for your family. The technology to build in wetlands is not for poor people. I always say that. It's not for poor people. It's for people that have resources, because it requires too much to build it. So it's not advisable to fill in the wetlands as of building in it. That's why we've initiated a process of demolishing some structures that people started building in the wetland. Now people will say due process, yes. When we warn you not to go ahead and do it, you continue to do it, we will break the structure and you can take us to court. The law is for every Liberian. We can take you to court, you can also take us to court, and if you think we're infringing on your right. But it's not to say you will violate the law, and then when we engage you, you continue to build in those areas, and then we should take you to court so that you can buy time and build it. We have a situation, a case in point with Kalano, the filling station in Komata. The EPA at the time told him you cannot build here, and he continued the process unto completion of the filling station. As we speak, the case is in front of the court to pass on the matter to demolish that structure. It's an illegal structure. I can assure you that it will be demolished. It has no reason, it has no political implication or what have you, as people try to insinuate. So we want to call on all well-meaning Liberians. We are going to a critical time. During the rainy season, we might have flooding around the city, but we can avoid those flooding if we work together and clean the waterways. If we work together and clean, even in your local communities, there are drainages there, they are clogged. Our sewage system were poorly constructed. They have not been maintained for years. So as a result of non-maintenance, the sewage systems are clogged. So when it rains, obviously the water will flow back upland, and it's going to affect the people that are living in communities and spill over into people's homes. So there are other issues that people constructing without permits, we've been able to engage and stop people to work with us. The reason why we require you to get a construction permit and it's required by law, every structure above 500 centimeters is required to get permit, is because when you are constructing any structure of that magnitude, it has implication for the number of people that will dwell in it. It will not be a private home anymore. It will be a multi-purpose building. A multi-purpose building, you have to consider parking space, you have to consider sewer system, you have to consider waste of those that are going to inhabit that building. So that's why it's important that you do what we call an environmental and social impact assessment. And also the area you're going to construct. If it is a fragile terrain like a wetland or close to a wetland, you have to consider the surrounding communities as you construct in those areas. So the study that we require of you is not just for us to keep on the shelf, but it's for us to work with you and the community so that your investment will not go in the drain. There are people that were constructing and the EPA advised them not to continue the construction because they felt the area was not conducive. They went on. Guess what happened? After a period, those buildings collapsed and the investment went down the drain. But beyond that point, we think that as we go towards the rainy season, it's going to be very important that we work together. We work with the Ministry of Public Works. We are forming a task force having identified these aspects. Beginning next week, we're going to start going out into these communities. Those areas that need little intervention, we will work with the Ministry of Public Works using a machine to clear them so that we can have free flow of water. Those areas that we see clearly, in fact, this weekend the exercise starts. We're going to be planting billboards along some of the wetlands, informing people not to do any activity there. And those areas that require some intervention, we will make intervention. Those places that is clear that indeed it is illegally constructed and it will obstruct the movement of the water, will be demolishing it. And we're not doing it targeting any group of people. We're doing it to save the general public so that we can have a destruction of lives and property during the rainy season. So on this note, I'd like to say thanks to the Ministry of Information for inviting us. I think we'll pause here and take questions.
Minister, do you want Latra to make a presentation first?
No, but let him receive the question.
Senator, please now. Please introduce yourself and the executive director will take 3 questions at a time. That they will avoid questions and respond.
Yes, and if you're busy, then I will go for handling this very quick. Mr. Director, you talk about two community people are trying water flows only to different houses. If you can say it about the people are knowing. Now, as a director for EPA, working in a government, why do you think people are trying their less affordable people that don't have money to go and buy a dry line to build houses? So what do you think? And if you move no people from local people, where will they go? And what are the methodologies you are putting into place?
Continue the question.
Good afternoon, Honorable Director. I'm Thomas Bika and I report for BMR Sacco newspaper. I want to say thank you for a brief deliberation. But I want to ask you this question, sir. Are there specific standard operating procedure put in place to mitigate environmental protection policy violation in Liberia? Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah, my name is Lincoln G. Peter and I report for Smart FM. Yeah, I want to thank you, Honorable Minister, for this opportunity. But my question has to do with 2 important things. This time you did a mapping and you shut down some area that was illegally operating and causing environmental pollution in Liberia. So I want to know those companies that you shut down that are operating illegally, and for those that you don't know what the next step towards them. And lastly, you talk about those people who are building in swampy area that you will like demolish that structure. It is very good. We know that it causes flooding, it causes a lot of bad destruction in the environment. But what will they receive after you have demolished that structure? Knowing that those people are not people who are financially capacitated. That is my question.
Thank you. I will take the last question. What will give them? Nothing. Period. The thing is, when they even sit there and there's flooding, there's flooding that enter their homes and destroy their properties that they have and displace them. What do? They call on government. We want government to come to our aid. All right? We are advising that it's not safe to do it. And that's the role of government. You can even have your land, but government can regulate what you do on land. And that's what we do. So, worst of all, the wetland is not for them. They go against squatter rights from some mayors or some commissioners and start to fill in it. You cannot be squatting according to the squatter right law. You can only squat for 11 months. But how can you build a structure, take 2 years to build a structure, fill a wetland, and then you think you're going to squat there for 11 months? The person wants to stay there permanently. So I'm only saying all of us need to be responsible to ensure that we don't violate the very laws that is there to protect us. Let the law is there to protect them. But if they are violating by filling in the wetlands, it's going to affect them. And then when they affect them, they call on government to come to their aid. Watch me, this rainy season, people, you in the media will be quoting some of them. All of our material was destroyed. We don't have food to eat. We don't have place to sleep. Government should come to our aid. And we think the best thing, one of the best principles on which environment is built is avoiding as much as possible a disaster so you don't have to go and fix it. Companies that were closed, yes, we're going to go out again on illegal companies that are operating without environmental permit, whose actions are affecting the environment and the citizens. Our work is not just to close company, but it's to bring them into compliance. So any company we shut down, we work with you to try to correct the things that you're doing that are wrong. It's not to stop you from operating forever, but to ensure that whatever your operation is does not affect the citizens, does not affect the environment. And so we work with the companies to bring them into compliance so that their operation does not affect the people. Yes, there are environmental laws put in place. As a matter of fact, Thomas, Liberia has one of the best environmental, the environment and laws in the region. We have one of the best as compared to our colleagues. Some of them have called on us and tried to copy from us. So we have the law put in place. Our challenge has been enforcing the law over the years. And since people have seen some level of enforcement of the laws, we've seen a growing demand from the citizens and other people residing within our borders calling on the EPA. Our environment protection and management law is holistic and is very strong. Even though we are to develop other policies and guidelines to support our law, but as a framework law, it allows us to do a lot in protecting the environment and human health. I also talk about people filling in the dry land to build because they don't have money. It's like the same response I gave to the first person. Do your quantification. Do your little math. Calculate how much dirt you have to pour into the wetland before it gets ready to construct. It's not a cheap venture. It's not a cheap venture. It's not a cheap venture. If you put that money aside, you can buy a piece of land. If you buy one load of dirt or truckload of dirt for almost $85, $75 US, and you have to put 10 loads in there or 20 loads, and you tell me, say you don't have money to buy land on high land, You better buy half lot of land somewhere and build there that you know you own a title to that deed than to go and fill in a wetland that is government owned. And besides being government owned, it's not for you, it serves the entire population. So why you want to block the waterway because that's the only place you want to live? You're gonna obstruct the livelihood of the remaining people in the community. You're going to obstruct the livelihood of the whole country. The wetland also can be used, it's also used as breeding ground for fishes. So you pollute the wetland, you block the wetland, you know what you're affecting? You are also affecting the fish in the ocean. So there are whole chain around building in the wetland. It's not just about habitat, it's not there for people to just live in. And on the case of Liberia, there is a study that shows that some part of Monrovia is below sea level. If there is an eruption, how do we control it? You're talking about a disaster that you saw the cyclone in Mozambique. You know why the cyclone in Mozambique killed so much people? Because they clear all of their mangroves. Because they clear all of the mangroves. If something like that erupt ever here, the mangroves will help to protect the storm and the water from coming in there fast. But if we clear all of the mangroves, all countries around the world are basically replanting mangroves because they find out that the mangrove is a better solution for flood control. And then we here cutting it because we say we want to live. Right here in Caribsburg, we got empty land. Mount Barkley, empty land. Johnsonville, empty land. Marshall, empty land. Right? Even Caldwell, empty land. And we have to live in a swamp. There is a hidden cost in living there. And I don't encourage any citizen to live there. It's a hidden cost. There's a breeding ground for mosquitoes. When you build there, you carry your children there every night and then they sick. One old lady nearby said that old lady playing witch. No, she's not playing witch. The mosquito come and bite the children, they always say the old lady are witch. Sometimes you your own witch. Because you take your children, carry them, mosquito dead. And they keep biting, and that money you're supposed to take to feed them, pay their school fee, always carry them to hospital. You spend time in the hospital. So there are a lot of things behind that building the wetland. And we like to encourage people not to.
We'll take the last round of questions. If you want to ask questions, please come in the queue. Please stand forward.
Joseph Charlie Berry, Abroad newspaper. My concern has to do with pollution, although you are not addressed. If we look at Simeco, I don't know, but I'm not sure if Simeco does not exist on a wetland. For the people around that environment, from Tamil and Mura, they have been complaining of pollution. And we also look at the modern aluminum factory, which is on 6th Street. The community around there from Tamil and Mura are always complaining of pollution, especially when we start to produce material and raw materials. TSTV has similar problem on Basin Street, and then you intervene and they have to relocate. So I don't know what intervention you are making to address this situation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Emmanuel Gaswal. I report for the Military Media. Firstly, before my question, I think it takes nothing for me professionally to give you a hats off, because I think EPA is doing well. The publicity is visible, the training visible. One Lima County last weekend, I was involved. This publicity is important to educate our people. But then my question: construction in waterland or swampland is not for poor people. That's a direct quotation, and I agree with you because it's cost intensive. But then we see areas where people constructing, and then we see EPA signs: do not build. But yet still construction goal is complete. Example, Purple Ridge Junction, the president got stuck up earlier part of this year in the rain season right there. There was a construction starting, we saw EPA green paint hot. Do not build that, and yet still is finished. So one question is there any preference? Do you wait They say, oh yeah, the people can't move this cost, it takes to do something suitable, train wire, so that again there, you don't have the money to put something suitable, so you cannot pay around.
I'm aware of Guardian and representing youth battles. Research has shown that we encounter serious crime in law enforcement. Why is there no challenge to you were elected United?
I'm Nelson Colen, Fabric Radio. You just talked about the danger associated with constructing the waterway, especially talking about environmental safety. Now, the substation, the Liberia Electricity Corporation substation there in Pinzio, if you notice, that area is heavily flooded during the rainy season. And considering the danger associated with electricity, out of water, what are you doing to address that situation?
Thank you. All right. Thank you. So I'll start from the latter and then go on. The flooding in the Pinzio, like I told you earlier, we've identified hotspots, and as one of the hotspots identified, and we're going to be working with the Ministry of Public Works to put in place measures to see what we can do to avoid flooding during the rainy season when it gets heavy. But again, one of the reasons why we have those, like in that particular area, is when the road was constructed in those areas, then there are no sewage system put in place. There are no drainage system, and there were no environmental impact assessment done to know that if we construct this road like this, what is going to affect the environment or how it's going to affect the community. All right, so that's why we have this. So some of the problems we have, they are inherited, but we're working to correct them. And so we'll be working with the Ministry of Public Works, those are identified hotspots, and we'll be working together to see how we can address them to avoid flooding that will affect the movement of people. Enforcement challenges. Indeed, we have enforcement challenges, not just us, even the Liberian National Police, the Immigration Authority, the DEA. We all have enforcement challenges because when we have legal resources with competing demands, the budget of the EPA is very low. As a matter of fact, from national budget, we don't get any support directly for enforcement. All right, it's just lobbying with our partners in the sector. We'll be able to access some monitoring equipment, some motorbikes to improve our inspectors for enforcement. The strength of the inspectorate is low. It needs to be beefed up. But again, we're in the process of recruiting and deploying inspectors, but we cannot pay them from our pocket. It has to be paid from central government, but again, we need budget for that. So we can only improve our enforcement capabilities if we have the support. As it stands, on our national budget line, there is nothing there for compliance and enforcement. Because, may I inform you that every day we receive no less than between 8 to 10 complaints from communities around of violations from people who they think that someone's action is affecting them. They report to the EPA and we're forced to respond. You know, at some point we have to settle dispute. Every day we have a meeting between communities, raising awareness with communities. So it's challenging. We need the support. The media need to help us to raise the awareness so that we can get the support. Graciously, by some support from some of our partners, we'll be able to do some work. But again, nationally, we still have challenge in getting the needed budgetary support. Someone talked about pick and choose. We don't pick and choose. When I said to construct in wetland, it's not poor man, it's not poor venture. Can you imagine in Kingrave? Which one of you remember the Kingrave incident? As a result of Seti Brothers construction in 2008, I think 2008, 2009. There was a heavy flooding in that area that led to at least 4 or 5 deaths and a lot of property destroyed. When Seti Brothers were constructing there, initially the EPA engaged them and told them you cannot construct here because It's in the floodplain, it's in the waterway. There has to be a technology you have to use to ensure free movement of the water. The then Minister of Public Works, Donzo, override the EPA, so we give Public Works, give them permit, let them construct. And the EPA was not as boom and fledged as it is now. So the then director said, let them go ahead, you will see the weight of the environment. There is something we say in the environment, nature does not forgive. They constructed. At the end of the day, what happened? People died. Then the EPA went in now and fined them. The EPA fined them and didn't stop them and gave them approved an engineering design to construct a tunnel at that space. Since the day that in 2008, there has been no flooding in that area. So when we say do an environmental social impact assessment, that's what it does. It gives you, informs us on the volume of water that comes in that area and what you need to do to mitigate the potential environmental impact. But poor men can't do it. Poor men can't do it. They wouldn't dump it there and fill it in. Okay? And so already you're saying you don't have money to buy land. Can you spend $50,000 or $20,000 just preparing the ground because you want to construct it? Or 20,000, even 10,000. You have 10,000 just to fix the ground to allow free movement of water just because you want to build it. Poor men cannot do it. You'd rather take that 10,000 and go and buy maybe 2-3 lots of land. Okay? Or thank you. So only businesses can do that. So we're now picking and choosing. And like I said, our work is not to just stop people, but is to bring them into compliance, so that whatever you do does not affect the environment and does not affect the community adjacent. On the last note, Joe talked about IAF and Cementco. The International Aluminum Factory, I think some of you can, Joe, you should know, you owe in this business. You know before we're fined by EPA. And we're fined by EPA for, they had over there International Aluminum Factory. And the EPA fined them and they had to change just the name from International Aluminum Factory to International IAF Showroom. So what they have there over there should be a showroom. And from the alert we're getting, we will send out again to see if they change from showroom to assembling and manufacturing. They're not supposed to, they have their warehouse in somewhere in Garnersville. That's where they do all their work, and they only bring it, assemble, and display. That's what the EPA approved. They're not supposed to be doing manufacturing here in Simcoe, because that's a residential area, and the activity not allowed, certain activity not allowed in a residential area. And one of those that not allowed is manufacturing. So they were found before, they were shut down before by the EPA, to the best of my recollection. And if they're doing it, then they will go back to facing the weight of the law. Cementco is one area that has been lingering on in terms of pollution. I remember one time there was a group of people that came and tried to inquire of why there was. In fact, I've been called today. My friend and brother, the late Adolf Lawrence, he called, invited EPA why Cementco is polluting. Now, the issue of Cementco, the whole Belema, that surrounding community, majority of the people that live there again is illegal squatters. When Cementco was constructed, that land that most of the people that occupy around Cementco is actually for Cementco. But over the years, since the war, there have been massive improvement on the facility. Besides that, the technology Cementco uses now, and the new plan they build, the decommission of the old one, the new one, if there's any emission of dust into the air, it's not from the production. Most of it is from the loading, because they have a complete seal-off facility that nothing goes in during production and nothing comes out. But when people start loading trucks, or people go and buy 10 bags of cement and they're loading 100, 200 bags, that's when you have dust going into the air. But here, EPA, we have some challenge. We cannot go and detect air pollution by mere eye. There's scientific equipment to determine the level of air pollution. It's not by eye. You can't go and say, okay, at this level, you are putting this number of particular matters into the air so they violate the environment law. No, we need equipment to do that. We need scientific monitoring equipment that will mount there and monitor maybe over 2-3 days to know the level of air pollution. Okay, unfortunately we are limited, and so there are certain things we can do. There are certain things we know will not show off, but to be sure of it, you have to do scientific proofs. Semeco is not a small company. You can go after them with their guessing that maybe you're doing this. They will challenge you in court. And if they challenge us in court, we have to prove scientifically that yes, we've done this. Big companies that we shut down, that's what we have to do. At least we have some very good strength in water and soil analysis. So when you play with us on our side, we can nail you. And but the other side, we're still working on improving on it to ensure that we put out very good process to protect the environment. On this note, I'd like to end, but I'd also like to inform you that who talked about the hot order? Okay, someone talked about hot order, but no, I addressed the hot order because the issue of the hot order is not to stop you permanently, but to ensure that you comply with the law. Once you go through the process and we certify the kind of structure you're going to build there, I tell you, some of those companies had to spend pretty close to 50-some $100,000 to certify what we want before we allow them to construct. That was not even initially a part of their construction or their plan for construction. So that was when we tell you to do that and you correct that, then we lift the order and you continue to construct. So it's not just that because you got money, you go ahead and construct. But again, what we're trying to do from the EPA standpoint, knowing all of these environmental challenges, we are working with some of our partners. Some of you, Emmanuel mentioned about the early warning system. We're going to be building on the early warning system to develop a climate information system that is more holistic, informing us on climate predictions and planning for potential climate disasters that will be integrated into all of our sectors, including agriculture, mining, transport, construction, and navigations, aviation, and everything will be integrated. What we envision in the next few years is out of this system, we think we should have a national meteorological agency that will be responsible to coordinate all meteorological and hydrometeorological activities within country. Because right now, as it stands, we have National Port Authority, they have their own MET station. Ministry of Transport, they have their own MET station. But the worst thing is that they don't speak to each other. As the transport sector is, what they use to National Port Authority cannot speak to what is an RIA. You know, or what they have an RIA cannot speak to what they have EPA or even mines and energy. So you see, we need an integrated system that speaks to one another and then help us to do climate prediction. That will help our development processes. That will make planning and construction very easy. Then we can do prediction over a period of days. In the next week, you have dry in this area. Probably where you can move and do some work. So it's not by heart. They carry the equipment there and then start really heavy. Because there is no prediction on whether it's going to rain. And we're talking about accurate prediction, not just the kind of prediction that we heard someone told President Todman, Mr. President is not going to rain today, and you wore a khaki suit or flag day and the rain whipping. We don't want that kind of prediction. So on that note, I would like to say thank you. Thanks to the Mikia family. We'll be committed to supporting government development agenda. Everything we do is in support of the national development agenda, the agenda for transformation that seeks to lift people out of poverty and improve the quality of living. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Before I introduce the next guests here today. I'd like to say you see in my hand is Office of the Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs, MICA, a signature media pass. I'd like to remind you, since this is Press Freedom Week, that will allow you to enjoy the celebration, so we celebrate with you. Next press conference, we will not be keen on this, but I'm sure that I am targeting your water dispenser here and to provide snacks and other things, as well as make this place conducive and comfortable for you members of the media when you visit us on Thursdays. You can see our chairs. So we ask that you cooperate, because when we issue this pass, what are we talking about? We're asking for accreditation to our press briefing, so that we just don't have any Tom, Dick, and Harry in here every time. And I'm saying it for your own good, so that you work in a professional environment. I want to modernize this place like never seen before. So I'm asking you to cooperate, go to your bosses, and tell them I need accreditation to the MICAT press briefings on Thursday. Once you have that accreditation, we issue you a letter, and then when you come, we'll give you one of these tags. Once you have this tag, some days when we come here, we'll go for lunch together. Some days we'll have snacks here, and some days we'll huddle up together as members of the press. That's who we are, and that's what we will always be, as long as you remain in this profession. So I urge you to cooperate with my office, because when you come here, we want to treat you with respect and dignity as a president. You deserve that. So please do that within the next 2 Thursdays, so that we can go forward and we can chart a new course as we work together to support the global agenda for prosperity and development under this president, His Excellency, President Dr. George Manabia. Without much ado, I'd like to introduce Dr. John S. Fomo Jr., Director General for the Agriculture Commodity Regulatory Authority, LACRA for short, who will now brief the press. Thank you. Dr. Fomo.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, and Honorable Father Minister of Information family. Let me take this opportunity to say thank you for the invitation to be here this afternoon. Before I go on to say what I have to say today, let me take this opportunity to introduce my 2 deputies here with me. Honorable Mesco, Roland Mesco is my Deputy Director General for Administration and Finance. Honorable Musa Kone is my Deputy Director General for Operations and Technical Services. What we are here to do today is to introduce the new regulations in the commodity sector, in the agricultural commodity sector. And specifically, we focus on the cocoa sector. We are from the Liberia Agricultural Commodity Regulatory Authority. And for short, second name for that is LACRA, L-A-C-R-A. So you will hear me talk a lot about LACRA to refer to the Liberia Agricultural Commodity Regulatory Authority. So just a little history, LACRA came into force in about a year ago, April 2018. LACRA was enacted into law in 2016 to replace the defunct Liberian Produce Marketing Corporation, LPMC. You and I know the history of LPMC, so I don't want to go into that. So LACRA was formed principally to regulate and create regulatory frameworks and policy for regulating our agricultural commodity sector. So this regulation is technically our first regulation. Throughout the first year we existed, we were using some of the regulations we made with LPMC. So today we are introducing the first regulations on LACRA. And this one has specifically to do with the cocoa sector. So the way I want to proceed with this afternoon is first to read 3 sections of the Act creating LACRA. So you have a good idea as to what LACRA is and what LACRA should be doing. And then I will talk about some of the challenges, some of the things that we've been trying to deal with for the last 1 year. And then come down to introduce the policy that we have crafted to try to address some of those problems. And I want you, all of these things I want you to keep at the back of your mind that LACRA is a regulatory agency of government. we are a regulatory agency of government. So let me look at 3 sections of the act that created LACRA. Section 6, Section 7, and Section 8. Section 6 addresses the objectives of LACRA. What is LACRA's objective? Under that, we have number 1 under Section 6, we have primary objective. Under primary objective, we have A, and A is product quality improvement and traceability. And it says the creation of a more efficient supply chain, which enables and stimulates the production and marketing of cocoa or coffee of high quality. Keep high quality at the back of your mind as I proceed. Which are traceable to Liberia, and by which the national integrity of the country is maintained from farm gate to market. And that market could be local market or international market. B, on primary objectives, regulatory and control framework. LACRA is established for the establishment of a rigorous commodity trade licensing regime, considering cocoa and coffee analysis training for all licensed buying agents and exporters, inspections and validations of storage conditions and other transactional procedure will also be considered. See on primary objectives. Commodity price standardization. LACRA exists to set realistic prices for agricultural commodities, particularly cocoa and coffee, based on world market variables, ensuring that Liberian farmers receive a better and a fair share of the world market price of cocoa and coffee. The other primary objective is international connectivity. We exist to connect with the international bodies that regulate cocoa and coffee, and those include the ICCO, the International Coffee Organization, the ICO, the International Cocoa Organization, and the IACO, that is the Inter-African Coffee Organization. Number 2 is our additional objectives, aside from our primary objectives. And under our additional objectives, we exist for the sustainability of Liberia's membership salary. We exist for the objectives of the authority to further enhance the country's agricultural potential by promoting developing standards and regulating agriculture export. Section 7 of the Act creating LACRA. Functions of the authority. What are our functions? 1, our primary function. Our primary function is to achieve the objectives for which we are established. LACRA is hereby empowered, as it was enacted by the legislature, to transparently, equitably, fairly administer and to promote the agriculture export trade of Liberia to the highest extent possible. 2, to increase agricultural productivity, competitiveness, value chain development, and environment sustainability, especially for smallholders and farmers, including women and youth. 3, to promote a robust, keep that word at the back of your mind, a robust, competitive and modernized agricultural sector support of sustainable economic growth and development. 4, our related functions. LACRA additional related functions. 1, to engage in setting standard for export of agricultural commodity, to set standard for agricultural commodity in line with international standards. B, to set reference prices on locally produced agricultural commodities based on the world market price, making sure that the farmers do receive a fair and remunerative share of the world market price of this commodity. C, provide technical training for commodity standardization. And D, to ensure that storage facilities, those are warehouses, are with proper hygienic conditions and are available for all exportable agricultural commodity. That was section 7. C, still continue. C, to encourage competition for both quality and quantity among licensed agricultural commodity exporters. F, to encourage competition for purchasing commodities at farm gate level, aggregation of such commodities at the association, client, district, county levels, and exporters. G, to obtain and evaluate market intelligence and disseminate relevant market information to relevant stakeholders. And I can go through it, it goes up to O. Let me save us the time. Based on this authority vested in LACRA, when we took over last year, April, we began licensing people who were already exporters in the industry as a way of having control over the agricultural export sector. We ask them to apply, exporters apply, and the way it is done is that you get a license for 1 year. And in that 1 year, we inspect the warehouses you use, how you do your exportations, and host of all things. And throughout the 1 year, after our first year expires in April of this year, we started to evaluate and interact with exporters, our development partners, experts. We just returned from Amsterdam from the World Cocoa Conference, seeing how things happen in the countries around us, Ghana, Guinea, Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast. And we thought that looking at the different variables we had looked at, it was important that we become more viable by putting in place a better regulations that will regulate the cocoa and coffee sector. And then we'll roll on to the palm and other crops that are in our agriculture sector. Because the matter of fact is that since the war, LACRA or LPMC did not come up with any new regulations. So our sectors have been running on what happened in the 80s and before. So based on that, we look at several different things. One of them was around the issue of quality and traceability. Right now, Liberia cocoa is discounted on the London market $200 per ton. That is, our cocoa do not meet the world market quality that is being demanded. Exporters buy the cocoa, they don't process them well, they export them to the international market, and they get there, the cocoa are substandard. I was on a team that went to Amsterdam and we carried sample of Liberia's cocoa as it's shipped by our foreign exporters. And I tell you, it was an embarrassing scene. The tester and the extract enter Liberia's cocoa on the table against Guinea's cocoa, against Sierra Leone cocoa, against Ghana cocoa, against Ivory Coast cocoa, and ours was worse. It was worse. I mean, the guy looked at the cocoa and said, "Where does this come from?" And we said, Liberia said, "No. It was worse. It was embarrassing." And besides that quality issue, we started thinking about how do we trace our cocoa, even on the world market. There's no clear sense of where our cocoa comes from. In fact, we just got a reliable information about 2 days ago that there is a company in Liberia that buy Liberia's cocoa, ship them to Nigeria, and bag them as Nigerian cocoa and put Nigeria's stamp on and ship them to the world market. The reason for that is that Liberia produces some of the best cocoa in the world, but we don't process them well. Aside from that, our farmers are being discouraged from developing their farm forward because of the price. Last year we set price for buying cocoa. We set a minimum farm price. And we have exporters who go out to these farmers and buy cocoa at very, very low prices. Aside from the issue of price, we look at how cocoa processing is done in Ghana. Ghana and Ivory Coast, by the way, are the 2 largest producing cocoa countries in the world. Those 2 countries account for 60% of the world cocoa. So we started looking at the models that are employed by some of these different countries. And based on that, in consultation with consultants from Ghana and from other countries and some of the development partners, we came up with a new regulations. I pass it around. And what I pass around is just a summary for the 6-page regulation. So if you need a detailed regulation, please visit our office. We are located at the Freeport of Monrovia. But what you have in your hand is just a summary. And I want to just briefly, if you have that already. Okay, I send a copy around, try and produce on the phone and so copies. And for the media. So I want to also read some of the things. We categorize them into 4 segments, but with 3 groups in mind. First, the exporters, people who will export our cocoa. And before I go on to that, I know a few days ago in the media, there was this whole issue about LACRA trying to create monopoly, that LACRA is hiring one company to export that raw cocoa. Let me be on record to say that is a lie. Whoever said that, they lie to the media, they lie to the people of Nigeria. LACRA has no intention, and none of our policy gives any single exporter the authority to ship Liberia's cocoa. What LACRA has done, as you see in this policy, is that we have set a standard to enable us control quality, control price, and control the traceability of our cocoa both in Liberia and on the world market, so as to infuse some foreign currency into our economy to support our FX, and then to save the integrity of Liberia's cocoa. The industry is growing, and the only way our farmers will benefit, the only way our farmers will get the money for that yield is when they are getting the right money that they ought to get, so that they are not cheated by people who are considered as exporters or agents who go on the field. Right now, we are running after some agents who go and take crops or take cocoa from farmers and promise them they will come back and pay, and they never pay, they never show up again. We're trying to control for some of those variables. We're trying to make sure that money will be available for whatever cocoa that is harvested in this country. The cocoa industry in Liberia is a $50 million industry. And we believe that this can help our economy to grow. So we don't want to take them for granted, so as to satisfy a small group of people at the expense of our farmers. So like I read portion of I will take my time and just read through this summarized policy, and then I will stop and probably will take questions. So let me start with number one there, we have requirements for exporters, people who will be licensed to export our cocoa. There could be 1, there could be 2, there could be 3, there could be 10, there could be 15, as long as they meet this requirement. 1 of 1. Anyone who will be licensed as an exporter of cocoa or coffee in the Republic of Liberia must be a supporter to farmers and cooperatives through a verified evidence. That is, before we license you to be an exporter, before we allow you to take Liberian cocoa and carry to sell it in London, in South America, in the United States, you must be somebody who has sufficient capital to support the small growers, to help farmers with fertilizers, to help farmers with working tools, so as to enable them to produce more cocoa so that you can sell more cocoa on the world market and make more money. 2 of 1. You must have a minimum approved bank balance of $2.5 million United States dollars. On the day you come with your application to apply to be an exporter of Liberian cocoa, you must have a bank account, cash in your account to show that you have $2.5 million. The rationale behind that is that you can't say you want to be an exporter in a $50 million industry when you can't even afford to buy the first, say, 20 metric tons. No, that's not right. So we are saying to show that you have the ability to buy and sell on behalf of Liberia, you must be economic or you must be capitally viable. You must have the strength to buy at least a certain amount of cocoa per season. Number 3, on that, you must have the capacity to export a minimum of 3,000 metric tons of cocoa. Right now, we are estimated at around 20 to 30 for the fact the number of working out metric tons, 1,000 metric tons of cocoa. So, say you want to export cocoa, we don't want you coming around to say that I export 2,000 tons. The 24 container you see them exporting cocoa is just 16 metric tons. 16 metric tons, the 24 container. And you have someone who is an exporter, they can only export 1 container a whole year. Now, if you take the amount they take to buy the cocoa from the farm and the freight and the taxes, it's not even worth anybody's time. So this time we want to encourage very serious-minded businesses in the exportation business of cocoa and coffee. Number 4, you must present a bank guarantee or a bank bond of $250,000. This amount will be held in an escrow account at a central bank or a commercial bank determined by LACRA as a guarantor during the life of the export license you are granted. The rationale behind this one is based on our experience. There are a lot of farmers right now who are complaining about people taking their cocoa and not coming back to pay them and all of these different debts, and we're having a lot of problems in the sector. So we make sure that whoever is licensed to export cocoa from Liberia, you will put a bond of $250,000 at the central bank account that we will not use, you will not use, it will be there. If you take cocoa from the farmers and you can't pay, that money will be used to pay the debts you have. That's the purpose of the bond, to create security for our farmers, not for LACRA. we will not use it for any purpose. If at the end of your lessons here you owe nobody, you take your money and you carry your money away. Number 5 on that, the cost of obtaining an export lesson is now 10,000, and that's why it was from normal day on LPMC. So that's a fee that we just go over. It's not newly created. And then the royalty on shipping cocoa will be $50 per metric ton. That is, every time you ship cocoa, you pay $50 back to the government to strengthen our economic power as a government. Liberia is the cheapest. In Ivory Coast, it's $300 per metric ton. But we didn't want to go to Ivory Coast because Ivory Coast is producing over 1 million tons of cocoa per year. So we are starting at $50 the same. When you're shipping, you pay $50 metric tons. And that was in fact that comes from one of LPMC, according to my deputy of operations. So LPMC was already charging $50 per metric ton to ship cocoa from here. USD, yes sir, USD. Now, to every regulation there should be a penalty for violation. So penalty, violation of these regulations as it is ascribed for exporter. 1. The first offense shall attract a fine of 20,000 United States dollars and a written warning from the Director General. Second offense shall lead to a fine of 30,000 United States dollars and a conference with LACRA's legal team. Third offense shall lead to the withdrawal of the company's export license. So if we find to continuously violate the regulations in place, then we'll say thank you for being part of the economy, go do something else you probably don't fit in the cocoa sector. The second group of people I want to talk about are people we call license buying companies. Now the license buying companies are people who will buy the cocoa from the farm gate and bring them to the White Houses for processing. You go to the farmers or go to the cooperatives and buy the cocoa from them at the farm gate price. You bring it to the warehouse and the exporters will pay for it at a certain commission so that you make some money. And this section is created specifically for Liberians only. You must be a Liberian national to be a license buying company. Right now in the market we have Ivorians. Because of the high tariff in Ivory Coast, we have a lot of people crossing over to Liberia. We have European and Lebanese going to buy cocoa from the farm gate. Now we want to discourage that. So we create the license buying company. The license buying company is solely reserved for only Liberian nationals. And what are the requirements for being a license buying company? 1, you must be a registered business and have a tax clearance. To be licensed, a business to be registered with the National Business Registry, and then you must have tax clearance from LRA. 2, you must be able to buy a minimum of 500 tons of cocoa per year. A minimum. So that you don't be like, okay, I'll just run a farm and bring 1 bag of cocoa and sell it. No. If you're a company, you need to buy at least a minimum of 500 tons a year. Number 3, you must have a verifiable bank balance of 10,000 United States dollars at the time of applying for license. The reason for the 10,000 goes back to the reason for the exporters. If you're going to be going to the farm to buy people cocoa, go to the farm cooperatives and take that cocoa from them, we want to make sure that you have the ability to pay these people. So you don't go to them and say, oh, you know what, yes, my pickup. 4-3 tons, let me run to the warehouse, they will pay me tomorrow, come and pay you. And then they trust you with that cocoa, you go to the warehouse, you don't come back anymore, and they start running behind you. Then you come to LACRA, and LACRA becomes a policeman. For we don't have the resources to be police people for the Republic of Liberia, or going to Guinea or Sierra Leone to look for them. So we want to make sure you have the capital to venture into the business. 4, the cost of obtaining buying lessons is just $1,000. So you come to pay for your lessons is just $1,000. Registration is free, but you pay $1,000 US for your lessons. Number 5, all lesson buying company must use the base farm gate price set by LACRA to buy from farmers or cooperatives. To protect our farmers, every cocoa season LACRA sets price, and that price is across the country. So when you're going to buy from cooperatives or going to buy from farmers, you pay that price. The experience we had this one season is that one exporters or a buying company will go to a farmer and say, oh, you planting cocoa, what you need? So we need food for the workers, we need fertilizer. And that exporter will start supporting the farm with the understanding that when the cocoa is harvested, the farmer will sell it to the supporter. But what was happening is that when the cocoa is being harvested and the exporter are not shown up, another exporter come and pay higher price for the cocoa and then they buy the cocoa. Then when the person who spend their money to grow the cocoa comes, they say, oh, only small cocoa got this season, and people are cheated. So now we ensure that all lessons buying company will have to use Lacra price at the farm gate, and then they will pay Lacra price at the warehouse for processing. Number 7, only person of Liberian nationality, I already spoke of that. Now let me talk about violation of this regulation. First offense shall attract a fine of $3,000 and a written warning from the Director General. And second offense shall lead to the withdrawal of the company's buying license. So those are the two groups that will be in the cocoa setup buying. The cooperative obviously will buy. They are already farmers, so we don't have restriction on them. They will buy and sell, or they will sell to license buying company. So I'm going to talk about the processing and packaging of the cocoa, because this is really important for controlling quality and traceability. The way you package your cocoa to sell it in the world market, it affects the price chocolate makers and businesses pay for your cocoa. So what we are going to be doing right now, beginning the next cocoa season, is that all cocoa will be processed at Lacra's warehouses. So when LPMC got defunct and Lacra came into force, they left us with a lot of warehouses around the country, and these warehouses were technically built for commodities. So what we are doing right now is that we are renovating all of these warehouses. If you go to Banga right now and Ganta, as I'm speaking, there's massive renovation going on at those facilities. We are renovating all of our warehouses. We are putting modern dryers for cocoa. So we are saying that right now, because some of the issue we had last season was, you go to warehouses, the cocoa are on the floor, they have the bucket, they have the bag sitting in one corner, the growing mold, and mold is not good for cocoa. So now we are controlling how quality will be handled here. So all cocoa bought and processed in Liberia will be processed in Lacra's warehouse, not by Lacra, but a processing company for all of us. And that then the cocoa will be bagged there, Liberian flag will be stamped on that bag, Lacra will actually be stamped on it, and the exporting company exporting it will put their name on it as well. It will go with the amount of cocoa in that bag and the crate of cocoa that is in that bag. That will help us to know where cocoa comes from and where it is going and the way it is handled. And that takes effect as of August 1 this year, 2019. It takes effect as of August 1, 2019. So that affects number 2, so I'll just skip that for the sake of time. Then number 3, all vehicles, train, motorbikes, etc. Importing cocoa and coffee within the Republic of Liberia will be accompanied or must be accompanied by a license. So nobody will just go to one country, for example, with a truck and back. I can't know Lacra warehouse in Monrovia and again I don't know. We're trying to adopt some of the methods that come from FDA, for example, the Forest Development Authority, as it relates to transporting log in this country. For you to buy cocoa and move it from one location to another, you will have to be licensed as a local buying company or as an exporter. Other than that, we will not allow you. If we have inspectors at various checkpoints, and if we met a truck or the truck met us there, whoever meet their friend first, now continue cocoa will redirect that truck to Lacra's warehouse and try to investigate who was illegally removing agricultural commodity in the Republic of Nigeria. So we're trying to control that as well. Concession companies, the question might come, well, why if a company comes in and want to do 15,000 acres, will you force them to sell that cocoa to a buying company? We say no. Any company that comes as a concession company that want to invest in cocoa or coffee plantation, say from 15,000 hectares and above, we give them exemption. They can process their cocoa in our warehouse, of course, but they can blend that cocoa, harvest it, and bring it to Lacra warehouses. We process it for them, and they can ship it themselves. However, they still need to meet the shipping requirement. They have to be registered as a shipping company so that they can ship their own cocoa. Because of the volume they be producing, we don't want to subject them to local buying companies so that they don't lose maybe their investment or something. Now, special note. Let me conclude on three special notes. 1, all current exporters, because I know this risk was concerned. Oh, we got export lesson now, they don't want to throw out of business. No. All individuals or companies that have current export lessons, we are saying their lesson remain valid. If your lesson goes until 2050, your lesson is valid, you can buy, you can ship. The only thing is that we bring your cocoa to Lacra warehouses, we process it for you, you ship it. Until your lessons expire. When your lessons expire, then you abide the new regulation. And the reason for that is that laws are not retroactive. Since their lessons were given them on the old regulations, their lessons stay valid as of the old regulation, except that we have to process the people in our warehouses to control for quality and traceability. So we are not going to cancel anyone's lessons, we're not taking any other lessons from them. And again, this is a summary of our policy. This policy is about 46 pages. We have them at Lacrosse warehouses. If you want a detailed copy, please visit us. We are located at the Free Pole of Monrovia. Okay? So finally, I want to show you that Lacrosse tries to maintain a competitive price of cocoa and coffee in the West African sub-region. We want to try to make sure our people remain one of the highest paid cocoa in the region. Let me give my two deputy opportunities if they want to add one or two things, then we'll flow from there. Okay, I know you're hungry already. So let me take some questions.
Thank you. We have questions. Please come in the queue. Please come in the queue. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I have a few questions. My name is James from our report for SCRAP. With allegation coming against you recently about monopolizing the cocoa sector, that is just having an exporter or an institution to export without you giving rights to other people. And today you are coming out with this figure, with your regulation, according to the regulation, about 2.5 million or 2 million before you have the right to export. Would this not really give the Liberian people a chance, or how do you expect the Liberians that we have looking at the hardship in this country to really have that chance to export with the level that is the money set up? And my last question has to do with importer, that is exporters. How many exporters do we have in Liberia that are Liberians?
Thank you. I have one question, but someone likes complimenting what my brother said. Don't you think, my name is Arthur B. And I report for OKF. Don't you think your benchmark being set up is ambitious, it's unrealistic?
Is it ambitious and ambiguous of both?
You coming over and taking
those are two words. Is it ambitious or ambiguous?
You took over last April, according to you.
Correct.
And come out, do you think you're too ambitious? Don't you think the policy is too high? That's one, or unrealistic, and could scare away those Liberians, and we couldn't see foreign investors coming and taking over the corporate sector of the country. Thank you very much. You can respond now.
Okay. So let me start with the Saflomo opportunity for Liberia. I think it's the same thing that Alpha just also referred to. We don't think this advantage in Liberia. You see, we're looking at the economic factor associated with this industry. You are talking about $50 million industry. Like you're trying to grow probably to 100 or 200 million dollars. All of us here as Liberians, we are saying, oh, you know, the extractive industry is going down. Rubber price is affecting us. We know how Liberia has succeeded throughout the centuries, and or the last couple of decades. So, if this industry is going to be one of those viable industries through which Liberia will develop, we need to take it very seriously. So, if a Liberian company has the necessary support to operate as an exporter, they'll be given the lessons. If a foreign company registers on our law, I'm not licensing anybody to run a business. So, say if an Israelis, for example, come to Liberia and meets all the requirements for getting a business registered in Liberia, and they come to us and they meet our quota, I don't think anything is wrong with that. That's why the second section of the requirement, that license buying company, we are reserved for Liberians only. And it will make them make money. It will save a lot of headache for a lot of people. Take for example, we're talking about an exporter only a container of cocoa for the whole year. If you do the math, the difference is small. The minimum price we pay for cocoa in Liberia for the last season was about $1,500 US. Multiply that by 16 tons. And then the price on the world market ranged between $1,900 to $2,200, $1,900 to $2,200. So assuming you carry one container of cocoa on the world market and it's $1,900, and you bought it from the farm at $1,500. The difference is $400. Out of that $400 you pay for shipment, you pay the CIF, the FOB, and whatever law attached to pay. You pay LRA, the tax, you pay Viva, then you pay royalty to LACRA. If you did all of that, you probably just earning maybe $50 on a ton. Compared to you go to the farm, to the market and buy a cocoa can, still make the same $50 based on $5 or $100 on a ton, and you don't have to go through all the stress. Which one is better? Those are the things we're thinking about supporting Liberians. I can tell you, this regulation is going to force. We're going to watch it for the first 2 years or 3 years or 4 years and see. Our ambition, and it's going to be ambitious. I don't see anything wrong with being ambitious. Right? Our ambition is eventually to move into us processing our cocoa at home into chocolate, into milk, into different kinds of things. But we're not there yet, but we don't have the resources. I mean, a lot of investors are engaged on that. We have this conversation. But a $50 million industry, if you don't have a bank balance of $2.5 million and you want to go into a $50 million industry, I think it's a challenge here. So I don't think we deny all of them. How many exporters, Liberian exporters we have? We have 4. And in fact, I still even doubt that they are actually Liberian exporters because what we'll be experiencing, one Lebanese will come or one European will come to Liberia to do a business and hire John Flomo. John Flomo will register a business in his name. And the chief government. So they come to us, we get a lessons almost free because we say they are Liberian business, we're encouraging them. At the end of the day, you realize that the Lebanese mentioned people. Or the true face. Yeah, the true face. So if you have to go through all these different things to deny your own country the opportunity of growth, it's better you don't do it.
We take the last part of the question. Please come in, okay.
Good afternoon, I'm Thomas Tao and I report for BMR Sacco newspaper. Honorable Director General did mention in your presentation that you left Amsterdam in recent time and you saw Nabokodo in the Disenchanted. As Director General, I don't know Disenchanted. But I'll let you know. In terms of standardized quality production services.
Oh my God.
I'm Alfred Said from the DA. Honorable, my concern has to do with 2 things. The Johnson Sirleaf government failed on something that took place during her regime. With cross-border cocoa trade going on, cocoa farmers were coming, even from Africa, opening up as into Liberia, and the media raised issues on this. And several times, Johnson Sirleaf and the president of the Republic of Liberia, her government failed on that. And the same thing is still ongoing there. You got Liberians who are complaining, and the Ivorians, the Burkinabes are planting cocoa there. And I would fear that in the long run, this is going to spark something. Between Africans and Liberia, where you got man, that area, similar things is happening there. What is your organization doing to address it? If you are aware of it, what is the mechanism for you to tackle it in soon as possible time to avoid conflict in the near future?
Thank you, Director.
So let me go back into the issue about standardizing quality. One of the reasons why this regulation is coming to force is to help us to save the face of Liberia on the global market. When LACRA gets into the place of processing the people itself, we're going to be using technically trained quality control agents, people who are trained to determine quality. We'll be using sophisticated dryers to ensure that our cocoa are dry to the specific moisture level before they leave Liberia. That will help us to infuse quality in our commodity. And then with the ability of us now to sit and watch Liberians buy cocoa from the farm gate and bring it to us, and they tell us specifically what town, what county, and what village they bought it from, that will also help us to do traceability. This is leading us now to even a higher standardization, what we call in the sector certification. We are looking forward towards certification from international organizations. But we're starting at the grassroots level. Let me call it, or let me use that word. So that's where we are going. When someone said we are maybe overly ambitious, that's our ambition, to make sure that our cocoa is quality. Then the cross-border issue, that's an issue we are aware of that. It's not just with Ivory Coast and Liberia, it's with Guinea and Liberia, Sierra Leone and Liberia. So with this new regulations, it's going to be difficult for someone to take our cocoa to Liberia, to Ivory Coast. In fact, let me tell you now, in the last few months, more cocoa has come from Ivory Coast to us than our cocoa from Ivory Coast. You know why? Because we have raised the price a little bit higher. Our farm gate price right now is higher than that of Ivory Coast. So we have a lot of people bringing cocoa into Liberia. In fact, that's one of the reasons why you see a lot of Burkina Faso crossing into Liberia, coming to Liberia to plant cocoa. The cocoa price is gaining value. And I can assure you that if I should come back to this forum probably in a year or two time, I'll be giving a more favorable response to this question. But in the coming year, we're hoping budget will favor us because right now in our national budget we only have salary. So everything we do, we have to work to raise money for it. Even the White House is being renovated. We are carrying on a $1.8 million project, and that money is coming from an investor who is investing in those projects to make sure that we have quality cocoa in this country. And that person is not a cocoa shipper. Let me say that they're not going to be shipping cocoa, they're not export or not get anything to do with selling cocoa. So no one say that company that we're going to get people to know, they are not. It's a Liberian investor who have taken those facilities and renovated them, and then we will work with them to see how they recoup their money. So the issue of cross-border in the coming months, we'll start deploying people at the various borders to ensure our people stop crossing. If more people come from Ivory Coast, it's better for us. We'll process it